Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Art House. So here we are on August 5th, on the cusp of the release of Arthurian Legends. So not really on the cusp. We got maybe 2 months to wait, but almost there. We're getting into spoiler season, and at the Gen Con event this past week, there was a massive relevation, not a reservation, a relevation. And we saw the Arthurian Legends deck box. And on the side of the box, we saw an artwork from the great Rodney Matthews. So an interesting story on that. I had the great pleasure to work with Rodney on the offer of his first few artist proof cards. We auctioned those at the Collector Art House Discord and the Sorcery Contested Realm community Facebook group. So I reached out to Rodney, and I was really amazed that he was gracious enough to even talk to me for one, and then also to work with me to trust me to offer his artist proofs. On the back, he only had one card in the alpha set, the Dwarven Forge, right? And on the back of those, on the artist proof cards, you have the face of the card, and then you have a blank white back, and oftentimes the artists sketch or paint on those cards, and they offer them for sale, and of course they sign them as well. So it's a great collectible. There was only 25 included, given to each of the artists for each of their artworks in alpha, and then 4 more in the top Kickstarter pledge tiers. So they're very rare, they're very special collectible. So when I reached out to Rodney, I was talking to him, and somehow I recalled that I had I was talking with Eric a while back, maybe it had to be almost 2 years ago, and I was asking him why some of the artists only had, one piece in the set, such as Rodney, Anson Maddox only had one piece in alpha. And, he said it was a combination of factors. It was very early in Sorcery. A lot of the artists were just busy, or, it was early days. Sorcery wasn't really a thing. It was just an idea. Erica was just kind of cold calling artists or emailing them and saying, hey, I'm watching this game, and what do you think? And so initially he only had the one licensed piece from Rodney Matthews. But another thing that Erica told me is that he thought that actually Rodney was retired from doing new work. So when I connected with Rodney about the artist proofs and just talking about him, talking to him, trying to coordinate an interview and things like this, he made mention that he was still actively working on many projects, and he was actually doing a major commission series for his good friend John Cleese from Monty Python, the comedian actor. And he also does children's books. He just launched a great children's book. He does calendars. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And, I had mentioned that Eric had made mention that he thought he was retired. And he was like, no, I'm not retired. So I went back and I told Eric that. And, I'm sure they reconnected. And we come to find out that on the side of the Arthurian Legends box, we have another licensed artwork from Rodney Matthews. So the door is still open. I'm hopeful that he was commissioned for some new pieces, but it seems that at least we have confirmation that he has more licensed pieces in Arthurian Legends. And as it turns out, there's many illustrations and books that Rodney had done years ago. I think this book was published in 1994. So after the reveal, I reached out to Rodney and his wonderful wife, Sarah. And Sarah told me that particular piece, the Excalibur that's shown on the side of the Arthurian Legends box, was from this book called Tales of King Arthur. And it's from the Usborne Library of Fantasy and Adventure, illustrated by Rodney Matthews, right? So this is a storybook, but there's several illustrations, many sketches, and in color illustrations from Rodney. So I acquired a copy of this book. I went online. It's hard to find in new condition. You can see this is kind of like a used, decent condition book, right? So I picked it up, and I thought it'd be fun to kind of scroll through here and just jump to the color images and see what we might speculate on. Could there be other pieces in Arthurian Legends, right? So here we have the hand from Excalibur. So we'll get to that really quickly. I'm not going to show I don't want to show the whole book, right? I just want to flip to the color illustrations and speculate, could these be in Sorcery? So here is a super epic piece, right? It said, now if you go back a page, I believe the character here, if we go to the chapter, it says who that is. So the Sword and the Stone is how the book opens up, and it's talking about Kay or Sir Kay. And here you have him holding the sword from the Sword of the Stone, right? So immediately you wonder, could there be an artwork like this, the way I try to speculate and assess this is, would it be conducive to an illustration in a card? So typically for a card illustration, you have a very prominent central figure. Check, right? You have room for the text box at the bottom without obstructing significant elements of the illustration. Check. And you have room at the top for the card title box, right? So this feels like it could absolutely be a piece in the game. And then we've seen curios where there's 2-page spreads or book covers, like the Ian Miller artwork from Alpha, the Free City, that ended up being a 2-page curio. And actually, there were other pieces from Ian Miller that we could have speculated that could be a 2-piece. And maybe that'll happen again in future curios. But here you go. Could this be a major knight character in the Arthurian Legends set? It seems like that is possible, right? So if I scroll through again, flipping through to the next color illustration, you see there's numerous sketches here. I'll slide past those. And here you have the illustration that we see on the side of the Arthurian Legends box. And it says, "Look at that sword," shouted Arthur, right? So this is clearly from the Sword in the Stone type image. It's really, I got to read the story to see like why this hand is coming up, submerged in water and grabbing the sword. There's definitely a tale to be told here. The really interesting thing about Arthurian Legends is that there's many versions of the tale of King Arthur and the lore of King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, right? So as we go through, we see more characters. And you know what? When I saw this, I knew it was Rodney because of the purple elements. He has this signature purple and bluish color, or purple-blue, right, that he uses. So right away, I was like, that's got to be, I was talking to one of the artists, I was like, that's got to be Rodney. That's the Rodney purple, right? So I actually did it. I took the image from the box, and I did a Google image search, and it surfaced some obscure like references to this image. And then I reached out to Rodney and Sarah, and they confirmed that that was indeed a Rodney piece. And she told me that it was in this book. So right away, I went online and tried to grab a copy to appreciate the story, the art, and do this video, right? So here you go. Another, this is Sir Lancelot of the Lake, right? So Sir Lancelot, you know, perfectly thematic. Again, 2 central figures, room for a game mechanic box and a title box. So that is another high potential license piece, I would say. People are going to get excited now. Now this one, again, a 2-page spread. This is an epic scene of the Round Table. Could this be a site? I don't know. Like, maybe there is. We saw that there's a Round Table spell, you know, vertical orientation card from Margaret Organ Keene. Could this be an epic Round Table site card? Again, it could fit. There is room for the text box at the bottom, the game mechanic box, and the title box. Really amazing image there. 2-pager, right? So that'd be perfectly conducive for a landscape style art. All right, this one is a little more abstract. I probably would not anticipate seeing that one in a beautiful ship, gasped Arians, right? So that one might be a little more challenging. You see there's many sketches in here. Oh, here we go. Another 2-page spread of an epic battle scene. So could there be an artwork with a site with a battle scene? I don't know. That would be a little challenging. I mean, if it was just a castle and it was a little more central to the focus, I would say possibly. This one, I feel, is likely a long shot, but it's man, Rodney does some cool stuff. If he did some new commission work for this, it's going to be very exciting. But this will just tell us, will there be license pieces? Again, this one, I think this is just too... there isn't a central enough figure, right, for this to really work for a card image. So I could quickly rule out that one. This one, now, this is interesting, right? So in rode an enormous man on an enormous horse. And this is Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, right? So the Green Knight, that is a legendary character in Arthurian lore. So you expect a Black Knight, a Green Knight, maybe a Red Knight. I forget from the lore if there's definitely 3. I forget what the third is, but Green and Black Knight. So there you go. This could absolutely work. You know, I don't know. It could cut off the hand a little bit and be challenging, but it's certainly enough room for a text box, which is really interesting how these paintings work and still have some negative space that somehow would actually work for a card illustration, even though that wasn't the original intent, right? So again, this one, this would be kind of interesting because it would cut off the sword. This is almost like a frame-breaking concept, right? On the border here. It's interesting how that this was framed for the book. But this is, he fought long, bloody battles with dragons, right? So I said we're going to talk about dragons in a bit, so I'll get to that in a moment. Let's see if there's any other color illustrations. This is a pretty brief and digestible book, and it's really great because it talks about all of the different characters, and it's a storytelling format, so you get some of the lore. Again, maybe not. This is kind of tight up top. And the other thing is it conducive to Sorcery's theme? You know, does it feel like that early 90s fantasy vibe that would fit with the other artwork and illustrations? All right, so there's the book, Tales of King Arthur, Usborne Library, illustrated by Rodney Matthews. So go look for that one online. The last thing I want to touch on, everyone's saying there's got to be dragons in this set. That's why I went with the Ancient Dragon playmat, Lindsay Cromette, right? So when I first worked with Rodney, he sent me his first, he did about 5 artist proofs, as I mentioned previously, and we sold those, and he sent me this awesome calendar. So there's a King Arthur calendar you can go get from Rodney's website, directly from his website, rodneymatthews.com. You could support him by buying his Arthurian Legends. I forget what it's called. It's got an Arthurian theme, right? And it's got a lot of those epic paintings and artworks. So that's another place we can look to speculate on potential pieces we're likely to see in the coming months. But there's the dragons, right? So there's many dragons in fundamental core alpha and beta sorcery. So there's certainly potential to expound upon that. And it makes you wonder, are there pieces? This was a 2024 calendar, right? So I think that's still available as the year's winding down here. But it's great just for the artwork, and maybe try to get a signed copy from Rodney. So there's many pieces here, and I don't want to zoom too much. You can see it. So I'm just going to leaf through and see, are there any, look at this one, that could potentially work for a sorcery piece. Now this figure here is a bit small, so I think that one would be a bit challenging. And does it feel like Arthurian at all? Wow, that's an epic piece. Kind of a circular design. I wonder if he painted it like that, or if that was kind of cropped from one of his paintings. The signature colors that Rodney does, doing the air spray technique, he's so masterful at that. His color splash, color palette is really something special and unique. It just makes the piece look so smooth. Look at it here. This beautiful, cohesive night sky. I don't know. These ones are a little more difficult. I think that was just something that held it firm in packing. Put that aside. Some of his artist proofs kind of looked like that, which is amazing. You get that level of detail. So here you go. Here's a really epic one with the sword aiming to the sky. Of course, that would be truncated by a title box to some extent. But this one looks like it could definitely work. He cut off the hand of the dragon. We get the central dragon figure. In a full art on the back of a card, that would be incredible. Green dragon. This one's pretty interesting with the wizard. You know, who will do the Merlin wizard? You know there's going to be a Merlin, right? At least one. And it seems like there's potential that there could be multiple, because we have from Elvira Shakarova, right? We talk about King Arthur. There was a King Arthur image. It was obscured, but in the background of one of the videos that the sorcery team put out, we saw what looked to be potentially King Arthur and Guinevere in the back of Eric's office, Eric's Curiosa headquarters, right? And then we just saw a King Arthur reveal from Milsa Benson. So that would leave one to speculate that potentially there could be multiple versions of the knights in this set from multiple different artists to give it different flavor. So will some be a chase? Will there be alternate art versions? The interesting thing on the side of the box for Arthurian Legends is that it said that there's more than 220 cards. It was very hard to read. Everyone was trying to understand the font of the Arthurian Legends text. It was really hard to make out. But it said that there's over 220. And the team had said on record that there would be over 250 cards in the set, right? So people are speculating, are they going to be reprints of the core alpha beta cards, or will they be 220 new functionally unique cards and then alternate artworks of the same new cards in Arthurian Legends? Again, or will they selectively reprint certain staple cards from alpha and beta to support gameplay? Yet to be seen, but a little fun speculation. Rodney Matthews, very excited to see if there's more to come from him. We saw it on the side of the box. Is that Excalibur? What does that card do? Is it a sight? Is it a spell? Be really interesting to see. Rodney is one of the greats, guys. Please go look him up. Look at his bio. Look at his website. He is one of the legends of fantasy art. He's been around for decades. He's kind of up there in the league of Frazetta and Boris Vallejo, some of the great fantasy artists of the last several decades, and a very humble, sweet, nice person, him and his wife, Sarah. I want to thank them for all the opportunities to get to work with them and talk with them. They're really great people. So there you have it. This weekend, guys, there's going to be a huge, huge, huge live event with a guest artist. Join the Sorcery Community Facebook group and the Collector Art House Discord. I'm going to announce who that guest is. There's going to be a significant special reveal. This artist is going to be showcasing certain original paintings from Arthurian Legends. And we're going to have another guest, a guest who was just at Gen Con recently. And again, I'll reveal this in the next couple days. I'm going to make you go sign up, join the Sorcery Community group. Just join it. It's free to join, obviously. It's a Facebook group. Join the group, join the Collector Art House Discord, and look for those reveals in the next 1 to 2 days. It's going to be Sunday, live event. We're going to open an alpha box. We're going to open a show with a guest artist. Then we're going to open an alpha box, and we're going to talk to this person that went to Gen Con and played a significant role in the Gen Con event. And lastly, Sorcery Con 2024 Las Vegas, November 1st to 3rd. 8 artists have been announced. 7 sorcery artists, 1 altarist, and there's more to come, baby. We are not done. We are not done. We're still talking with a few artists, and this is going. We already hit a record sales number of tickets. You guys got to get your tickets. They're selling fast, and this event is going to be second to none. Next level, epic, huge moment in sorcery. So please get your tickets on sorcerycon.com. Like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on Sunday. Thank you.